Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joines, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'm here with Mr. Tate Mathews. Tate, week 4 football in the books, including some region matchups.
Region matchups finally here. Some of them were quite the nail biters.
Well, and some weren't, like the artist formerly known as Hillwood. That wasn't, not so close.
You talking about the Bellevue Steeler dunk?
Let's jump right in, Tate.
Let's go.
Let's start with football recaps. Again, week 4, the WCTV game of the week, and man, did it not disappoint. Independence for the 3rd week in a row.
Yep.
A row.
What was the yeah.
Independence 34, Franklin 27, 2 overtimes. They had 1 overtime and a 3. They've played 6 overtimes.
6 overtimes, 4 games. We like to have some. You have to deserve it and you have to earn it. But we've had some pretty good nicknames in the WCS Sports Conference in the past 8-10 years. We've got Mr. May, September, Teddy Craig, Mr. Touchdown, Samson Johnson. And we mean this with the utmost respect. I think Coach Stidham now has to be called Mr. Overtime.
Mr. Overtime.
6 overtimes in 4 games. Hard to believe.
Unreal.
He said that he thinks he's only played 5 overtime periods in the previous 20-plus years of his coaching career.
Wow. He's catching up.
Everybody's getting their money's worth if you're buying a ticket to see the Independence Eagles.
Lots of OTs lately.
Yep.
Fairview involved in that double overtime win over Richland.
It was big.
Which was good. So 3rd straight week. They open region play, more importantly, 1-0. Franklin is 0-1. Clay Davis scored a touchdown in the 2nd overtime, and then Eli Bauman with a great breakup of a pass from Brewer Wilson to Lucas Young. Lucas had it in his hands, but Eli made a great play. It wasn't about Lucas messing something up or Brewer not throwing the appropriate pass. It was a nice play by Eli Bauman. Again, Independence gets that win.
Yeah, it's huge. The Eagles do not quit at any point, and they believe in their team, and what a great play. And you mentioned Clay Davis. The first overtime, Luke McNeely scored that one. We know about what he did in the overtime victory over Page. So just a guy that, both of those guys just continue to make plays. The kicking game is such a big part of Independence. I know we always mention Landrick and what he does but he goes 4 for 4 on extra points, made all of his field goals. He misses 1 extra point or 1 field goal attempt in Page, or the Independence wins. I mean, the Franklin wins, and Independence record's totally different. So they're doing well in a lot of places, but they're winning each week, including the losses in the kicking game. Very big.
Elijah Bagwell of Franklin also getting it done. He tied it at 17 right before the overtime. And if I'm not mistaken now with Independence, on at least one of those overtime possessions, they scored on 4th down, which they did also against Page.
Yeah, I think it was the first one, 4th and 5, I believe. 4th and 15 against Page. I think this one was 4th and 5.
Incredible.
Yeah, I want to see Coach Stidham's call sheet.
Franklin had the ball about 20 minutes in the first half, which shows you that they were doing the things they needed to do. But a couple of issues for them. They fumbled a punt, led to an Indy score, and then also on special teams. And by the way, it's the WCTV play of the week. Check this out.
Wells has the leg to get it to the end zone. And another
sidewinder.
Yeah. Going to be picked up clean.
Calvin Wall with the return here. Finds a slot.
Can Wells lock him down? He's not going to be able to catch him.
And he's able to bring it back to the house. So Calvin Wall,
wow,
with a 80-plus yard return.
What a
Special teams.
Special teams playing factors all over the place. 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams, and
It's usually not a good sign when your kicker is the last line of defense.
had a host of Admirals chasing down and put in the books over 90 yards, I believe, on that return. Picked it up about at the 11 or 12.
Well, we heard our man, Coach Paul Brees, on the commentary say he's got the leg to make it to the end zone. That's why it doesn't happen a whole lot, but that's why it's so important to get that thing to the touchback. It's also why when you have a kicker who can get it to the end zone, what a weapon it is. Can't return it if you're not allowed to return it, but that was pretty textbook, right? He fielded it cleanly. Great job by the kick return team blocking. He found the lane, hit it, made the kicker pay for the bad angle on the tackle, outran everybody, and it looked like he kind of got clipped right there at the 5, but kept his balance and got it in. That's as good looking of as a kickoff return for a touchdown as I've seen in a long time. Again, Independence winning in the 3rd phase of football, which is big, the kicking game.
Well, Franklin has to be, no pun intended, kicking themselves. The fumbled punt on special teams and then giving that up on special
Can't
teams,
do it.
especially the way the rest of the team played. So you just listen. You try not to. You try to root for everybody, but it is painful to watch some of the ways they've lost. Now, Franklin Nolensville this week. Don't count the Admirals out.
I wouldn't count them out of any game that they're in. By the way,
Your picks will need to be interesting this week because
yeah, I know. It's tough. By the way, the new smoky grays that Franklin had on were
very nice,
legitimate.
very nice.
Coach
agree.
Melton's tweaked some of the look, and everything he's done so far I like a lot.
Brentwood, Henry County. Brentwood.
Notice I didn't call them the bluegrass grays, the smoky grays. Go ahead, sorry.
Brentwood 17, Henry County 14. That's three straight years that's been a battle, a tight battle, and Brentwood again comes out on top. They improved to 4-0. Henry County drops to 3-1. They're down 6-3 at the half, and then Gavin Nelson, a big 77-yard touchdown run. They really never looked back after that. In fact, you see 17-14, they were actually up 17-6 late. Henry scores like 2 minutes to go, and then the Brentwood offense was able to do what they needed to do. But another nice win there for Coach Finch and his troops.
Henry County is going to be either in the second to last week or in the last week of the 5A conversation, I think. I hope we don't match up with them in 5A. If we don't, which I don't, do you know?
We will late.
Late?
Late.
Yeah, right. 4th round.
So
they're going to be there.
I think that's right. So here's what I would say about Henry. Give their coach credit. What's their record the last 3 or 4 years against us? Now, some of us,
real good.
They had to play us.
Right.
You had to play in the playoffs, but they've got to be like,
Yeah.
can we
Let's
not
get the Wilcos off the team.
Can we not get over the hump here? But I give them credit playing Brentwood.
No, they're a good football team. They'll be there in the semis, and then hopefully one of our guys knock them out. What I'm saying is that's a really good win.
They have to beat Beach in the quarters, right?
Quarters, correct?
Henry?
They will. I think they play regular season.
They're in the same region,
Let's go.
right?
Yes, they are.
We ought to know more than we know. Listen, they're in the same region, quarterfinals.
It's a little too early to get too into that for me,
It is.
but we will figure it out.
That's a good excuse for us.
That's right. Here's the point. This was a tough, hard, physical football team. Brentwood gets another win. I love this Brentwood team. Did you by chance see on the news, you were probably still at the game, so you might have seen, did you see the Gavin Nelson run?
I did not.
The whole time, it was Berman rumbling, bumbling, stumbling was playing let's put it this way. It took a little bit longer than a 77-yard Ben Hubbard touchdown, but it was beautiful. It was. I like him a lot.
Centennial. Captain.
Mallory Lane Mall, or as you like to say, Mallory Lane Mall.
Or just Mallory Lane. We got a game over at Mallory Lane.
Coach likes, he's a little bit closer to Percy Priest. He likes to go out of Four Corners Marina. getting that C-Ray 230. Thanks for playing, Hillwood, Lawson, Bellevue, Steeler Dump, whatever you want to go by. Hey, this is what I heard now.
I think
a little birdie told me.
Let's just start calling them Hillwood.
Hillwood.
And just roll with it.
Little birdie told me that Hillwood, this is a lesson, young people. You're not going to listen to it. And there's more young people that watch this. And I mean, you know that. Why would you talk trash on social media before a game? I do not understand it. I do not understand it. It makes absolutely no sense, especially when this is a David and Goliath type thing. Don't go making, David just showed up and took care of business. He didn't talk trash and tweet Goliath, hey man, I'm coming for you to slay you with the pebble. You know what I'm saying? And from what I'm trying to tell you is a little birdie told me that Hillwood fired Centennial up big time and probably didn't need to.
Not good. 35-0 was the final.
And it could have been worse.
They both came in undefeated.
Yes.
Talked to Coach Stewart about it. He said defense didn't give up 100 yards.
Didn't give up 100 yards.
4 different guys that scored. Odie, touchdown reception. Kenai Johnson, 2 touchdown receptions. Jaden Drayton and Josh Jenkins, both with rushing TDs. And I tell you, the QB, Elisha, he played well. 14 for 21, 233 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then Dominic Reed, he didn't score touchdowns, but what did he do? 12 tackles, a forced fumble.
He had an off night. No, I'm kidding. They chose not to feed him the ball, but
4-0.
and remember, we're not at full strength right now, but we're close.
Now, you were talking about talking trash before the game. Apparently, Colorado hadn't listened to this.
No.
Did you see?
Well,
It's a little more after the game, but I saw
but Colorado's not a massive. Colorado didn't go into that game a massive underdog.
True. I saw one on there. It was like a trash can, and somebody goes, "Oh, look at this!" And it was something got thrown in it. And you go up and look in there, and it's like a piece of corn. For the corn.
That's fantastic. But and that's a whole nother show.
It's a whole other show.
But the nobody's giving us any respect line. Give me a break. Everybody's giving you a bunch of respect, man.
They're getting a lot of pub, man.
Oh yeah, they're gonna keep getting it too.
He's playing that right. Fairview, big double overtime win over Richland, 29-28. Nice game there for Fairview. Of course, Billingsley with another big game. Jax McCoy with another big game. They needed that, I thought. Even though it was out of region, I think it gives them confidence coming into this Cheatham County matchup this week.
Yeah, and this Cheatham County matchup will be much different. Richland's a good football team, physical football team. Fairview needed it for a lot of reasons. One, they needed to get back on that side of the column, but also they've been banged up. It's not an excuse; it's just what it is. They've been banged up. If they were still as banged up as they were 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, they don't beat Richland. So they got one they needed to get, and now they move on. It gets a little easier after Richland. They'll be fine. Hey, we're young, but we're getting older. We're 4 games in. They're going to be fine come playoff time.
I thought Richland kind of sounded like a pop country band. Big in Richland.
Big in Richland. Because we're coming. Well, no, they're not that. They're not college football anymore, are they? Hey,
They were.
a little side note. Richland is right past Linville, Lynnville, home of one of Coach Wild's favorite hidden gems anywhere in the state.
Which is?
The Soda Pop Junction.
Heard him talk about that.
Well, it's legit. I've been there. If you're ever down that way.
Didn't you meet Tommy K out there one time?
TK, no, we took him to the Davis Market out in Boston, Tennessee.
Another.
Yeah,
Not to be confused with Boston, Massachusetts.
correct. Big difference. Soda Pop, legit. It's in the top 5.
Ravenwood, 28, Smyrna 6. Carter Pace, 189 rushing yards, 2 TDs. Ben Hubbard, this guy, you mentioned Ben earlier.
Making plays.
5 receptions, 113 yards, a touchdown receiving, and an 85-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. He's playing well. Femi Babalola, 12 of 16.
That's so great.
192, one touch. Here's what I would say. Now, listen, your pick's looking good for region champion. I'm not saying Ravenwood's not going to win. But when they play, it gives Ravenwood time. If they were playing when they normally play, I think Brentwood
win, hands down.
But the fact that they're playing late, to me, I look at Ravenwood and say, of all our teams, when you say week 1 versus the end, I think they'll end up being the most improved because of the youth.
You're 100% right. And it's going to be a heck of a game. And hey, don't think Ravenwood's not sitting there thinking, man, I hope Brentwood goes undefeated. They want them to go undefeated, and then they can try to end that. It's the last week of the season, right?
The last game.
Yeah, they want them to be 9-0 and go in there or wherever it's going to be this year and try to ruin their season. Because that's where they would look at it, right?
Yes.
We would still go to the playoffs. So, but that's easier said than done. But you're right; they are getting better. One, Femi Babaloa is becoming a real quarterback, athletic guy, 12 for 16. He's playing very, very well. Ben Hubbard, the touchdown was a 75-yard touchdown. So 75-yard touchdown, 80-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. What does that tell you? You better not let him get in space or you're probably not catching him. By the way, we talked about Donovan Starr in week 1 against Alcoa with the catapult that measures the miles per hour. Remember, I was a little off on the cheetah.
Yes.
By about 40 miles an hour.
How can we forget?
Our man Ben Hubbard hit 21 miles an hour on the catapult. Coach, that's flying.
It's flying.
And you've talked about it. Coach Ester's talked about it. When Carter Pace gets back to healthy off the pitch count, he's as good as any running back in the state. You see that. And here's what I love on defense. Donovan Starr. He's going to be a high jump champion in track. He's a track star. Good-looking guy. You know, those guys usually, DB, right? They don't usually, prime time, they don't usually like to be physical. 9 tackles. I love that. You got a guy like that that's sticking his head in there and getting 9 tackles on the game. It wasn't like they were getting their tail kicked. That's the sign of we got a defense that's playing as a unit, playing physical. They got a lot of good things going.
Austin Mayfield is the first game he played all year. What's he do? Leads the team in tackles. 9, he and Donovan led the team in tackles. And I'll tell you something else that happened. A couple of turnovers earlier for Raven, early in the game, that put the defense kind of in a tricky spot. But what do? They bow their neck. They only give up a couple of field goals in those situations, and then from there they got rolling. So great job by Coach Hester and Ravenwood, playing well right now.
Safe to say, real quick, and then we move on. Safe to say weeks 1 through 4, most improved from 1 to 4 is Ravenwood.
Yes, and wait till 10.
Okay.
I believe that.
I think you're right.
Summit 27, Blackman 28, a heartbreaker for the sport. They didn't have to win it because it's an out-of-region game, but you do feel like, you know, they lose a couple heartbreakers in a row now.
Yep.
They could be 3-1. You know, mentally, what's that do to you? And I know that team will keep fighting, but I thought that was just another heartbreaker for them. They're up 27-21 late in that game. Mason McElhaney with the quarterback keeper to put them up. But then Blackman responds with an 85-yard TD pass. I know Coach Coleman wasn't happy about that, giving up that big play. McElhaney does have a nice game, 9 of 14, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns, 91 yards rushing and a touchdown. Dominic Hollis kind of got going. The thing I like what Summit's doing with Hollis, because they're loading up against Hollis, but they're throwing him the ball too.
Right.
He had a rushing TD and a receiving TD, but hated that for Summit.
That's a heartbreaker.
It is because you may have mentioned this with Summit last week, or maybe Independence. Even though it wasn't like you didn't play well, but that feeling of being 2-2 or 3-1 versus 1-3, that's got to be a little bit of psychology work on Coach Coleman's part this week with his squad. And they got Brentwood coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. But, yeah, you're right. Everything you said was right. We got to get some other guys involved, right? McElhaney's playing lights out. Hollis is playing lights out. We got to have another a guy on offense or two to start shouldering some of that load.
Page and Nolensville both roll. 38-7, Page over Laverne. Nolensville, and it's a league game. They couldn't help it. They had to play them. Glencliff, 55-0. What do you got to say about that?
A couple of boat. Again, we're well aware. Coach Derrick likes to head down to Alabama, jump on the Chaparral day cruiser, and then our man Boffman. He's kind of a Boffman. Rathbone's kind of a Tim's Ford kind of fella.
He is.
Although I would say that he's that he was on Tim's Ford Lake this week, but actually he headed down the Tennessee River because he went to the UT Austin P game with his son Jake, who's playing really well on the offensive line, playing out of position while we wait for maybe a piece of the puzzle to come back. So both of them, boat captains. The Laverne one could have been worse. As much as we like to have fun, I will not say anything poorly against Glencliff because I really respect the fact of what they're doing.
They got a team again.
But I mean, come on, like
That's rough.
that's rough. But good for Nolensville for doing what they were supposed to do.
They sure did. Let's talk some volleyball scores. The volleyball league has got me kind of pumped up this year in terms of how it's going. Listen to these scores. Brentwood beats Ravenwood 3-0, Battle of the Woods. Ravenwood beats Nolensville 3-1. Franklin beats Brentwood 3-0. Look what's happened with Franklin volleyball since Coach Beebe's gotten there. Number one, she's gotten the numbers out.
That's right.
They're sitting at 6-2, atop of the league. Ravenwood at 5-2, Summit with 5 wins, Brentwood and Indy with 4 wins, Page with 3, Nolensville 2, Centennial 0. Let me tell you where I'd be the most nervous. You go into the tournament, like, hey, I'm the 2nd seed. That's great. Who we got? Nolensville. And I'm not saying Nolensville's going to finish 7th, but if he did right now, would you want to play them in the first round?
No, heck no. Well, they'll tell you they can all beat each other. So just think about what we were talking about last week in the 3-way tie for first place. Franklin wasn't in that conversation.
Now
Here they are. They're atop the standings. And you're right, she's done a great job. 1, she's gotten out numbers. 2, I think it's a big deal. Nobody asked me. She's in the building. I think that helps.
It definitely helps. She's one of the, she's not, we've got some that aren't. Not that you can't do a good job, but it matters.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and if you're already established, that's one thing. But she's done a great job. She's brought a lot of excitement to it, and they've got some really good players there. So
Dylan Garner.
Baller. She's a dude. No, that's fair. She's a dude.
And that's positive.
That's a positive thing.
He's not, anyway.
Yeah. She's a gamer.
Soccer, quietly, maybe not quietly, but Coach Burgoyne's
You're
got
a big Burgoyne guy.
I love Burgoyne.
Yeah.
So here's the thing about Franklin. If I'm not mistaken, last year was that team that was gearing to be the team.
That's what he low key would tell you.
This
He knew
might
what he
be
was
the
talking
team.
about.
No, this one.
Yeah.
This one might be the
Oh,
team.
gotcha,
The
yes.
one last year had a ton of the seniors.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're kind of gearing up for this. If I'm not mistaken again, they were either freshmen or sophomores when they got beat in the finals by Ravenwood. I think that was last year's team. Then this year, it's like, well, we lost some of them. They're good. 4-0 win over Brentwood. In fact, Coach Burgoyne and Franklin, this week's gym.
Oh.
4-2-1 over the past 4 seasons versus Brentwood.
Strong.
I mean, when you're talking soccer now, don't get me wrong, I mean, Franklin's won like 14 state titles on the girls' side.
Yes.
So let's not act like Franklin can't play. But recent history, it's really kind of been Brentwood, Ravenwood, maybe. Is that correct?
100%.
Although Franklin made the final.
With Ravenwood kind of being it.
The one.
Yeah. That's right. Franklin did. Hey, and is there, if you want to see a soccer game, now I don't know where the Brentwood Franklin game was.
At Franklin.
Oh man, that is a great
place to
great
watch.
soccer venue.
Until it gets a little chillier, though, mosquitoes are bad down there.
They're real bad. You gotta let those guys do whatever it is they do. Yeah.
You need some off down there,
The
man.
hop of river. Yeah. Once it cools down a little bit,
I
get you.
didn't know Coach Gentry went to soccer games. Matches.
Hey boy, got the half over the half.
3-0 in district play. Look out now. Here's the other thing I like. So Olivia Simpson, she's always getting assists.
Yep.
She gets 2. Goals, 4 different people. Mia Hassan, we've mentioned her before. Ellie McDonough. Georgia Shields, who we've also mentioned. Lily Strange, and then shutout, you get Molly Forrest, the freshman, and then Camille Nash, the senior, comes in and finishes it up. Look out for the Admirals.
Look out for that. Lady Admirals. They go by Lady Admirals.
Oh. Fairview.
Good gym, by the way.
4-1 over Powell, Kentucky. Powell County, Kentucky. Smoky Mountain Championship champions. Now, for those of you that watch the show every week, you might be going, well, Paige, it's a different one.
Yes.
They've got several. It's a big tournament, by the way. Adidas is involved in that. This is different, like smaller kind of schools that this one was. But Fairview, Coach Sizemore.
Coach Sizemore's been building it.
He's doing a
He
good
literally
job.
built it from the ground up.
Sure did. Cross country. Hey, listen, this is from a couple weeks ago, but we failed to mention it. Paige had like a first annual invitational, and maybe they've had them in the past, but this particular one, they've gotten it going. They call it the first annual. It was on September 2nd. We had some girls and boys really step up. In particular, you see a lot of independents here. Janie Halterman, first place on the girls' side. Asher Oates on the boys' side. Spencer Utsey, Karsten Hansley, all top tenors in that particular meet. We had some other folks from Page and Centennial step up too, Tate.
Oh, without a doubt. Larkin Johnson, we know that name.
There's a name we know.
Very well. She came in third. By the way, there were over 100 participants in this meet on the girls' side. So, you know what I'm saying? That's a heck of a performance. But Larkin came in third. Gabrielle Boutros, fifth. Sophia Boutros, sixth. Nigella Smith and Natalie Smith, seventh and ninth of Page.
Freshmen. They
Freshmen.
got two twin. That's awesome.
More
actually.
than any sport in cross country and track, we have siblings.
We do.
It's unbelievable, really. So great job by them. And then Aiden Hack at Fred J. Page High School, Rudderville, came in fourth. Michael Eischen of Centennial and Karsten Hansley, who you mentioned earlier, was in seventh. So I'd say we dominated that meet.
Tate, part of the show I don't want to spend a ton of time on.
No, you should.
This is an absolute shocker. If you don't want to talk about firsts. So last week in the Pick'ems, it's the fans, it's us and Dr. Qualls. 3 of the 4 go undefeated.
It's hard to do.
And it wasn't you. You're like the
Man,
is this like the Yankees having a bad year?
This is more like, it's more like Brentwood girls track and field having a bad year.
Not getting out of the county.
right. Yeah.
Listen, 6-2, which is a good week, but you've got 23 wins. The fans have 24 wins. Qualls 26 wins, and I have 27 wins.
That's strong, man.
It's not bad.
27 and 3, that's good.
Fans keep voting on X. WCS
You're coming around on X.
I kind of like it. So I didn't really look in here. I just give you your choice. You want to pick first or second? Just starting from the top.
I want to pick second.
Okay. So let me write this down, which ones I'm picking. Okay. All right, here we go. Brentwood versus Summit. First region game for both teams. It's at Brentwood. Brentwood 4-0, Summit 1-3. Brentwood's got too much. I'm going Brentwood in this one.
Sorry, Summit Spartans. Love you. Still with you, but not this week. The Bruins.
The game I've got circled, Summit, Franklin. To me, that's going to be the one that determines that.
Yes. That's at the
playoff
end
spot.
too, right? Yep. That's going to be, you're right. Going to be a good one.
It's not. No, it's next week.
It's next week. All right.
Next week.
It's been in the last.
It'll be Indy Summit at the end.
Ooh, border battle. I'm going Brentwood.
Centennial versus Springfield. Your pick, Captain.
Springfield's tough. They're
yeah,
a fourth round.
Go ahead and circle Centennial.
Fifth round. Man, thanks for playing, boys. Centennial goes to 5-0.
Agreed. And before you give Springfield too much credit, they squeaked and eked by Greenbrier.
No, I'm just saying in the past, they've been a perennial 4A, 5A, maybe that was 4A. Doesn't matter. You know what? I'm trying to be nice because I kind of like their coach. Not only does Centennial win, Mallory Lane Mall will be in the sunglasses and captain hat again next week.
They will. They're rolling, man.
They're rolling.
They're
They got some stuff about them. No surprise there.
Fairview at Cheatham County. Region matchup, Fairview 1-0, Cheatham 0-1. I think some folks, maybe even us, were thinking with Fairview, hey, you need to beat Stewart County to make the playoffs. They're winning this game too. Fairview at Cheatham, I'm going Fairview. Cheatham's only wins over Cannon County.
Nice.
Losses to James Lawson, Harpeth, and White House Heritage 21-14. I'm going Fairview. I think they're getting, like you have mentioned, they're getting this thing going.
The only thing, I've said this on this show before, the only good thing about going to Ashland City, AKA the Al Cooper, Tim Ray dump, was to go to Stratton's. It was a great restaurant. Stratton's went out of business about 10 years ago, so there's nothing fun about going there except to go in there and get a little boat race city. Fairview gets back on the boat race train. This is a boat race. They will be at Snappy's in time to order their pizza before 9:30. Boat race. Thanks for playing.
Independence, 2-2. I've had it's 1-0 in the league. Not a league game, obviously. At Beach.
Shackle Island.
It's your pick.
It's my pick. I have learned my lesson. And I don't pick against Anthony Crabtree and Beach very often. I like this Independence team, man. They're battle tested, and they've really come out of it healthy. So they're playing with a lot of confidence, and they should. I'm going with the Eagles of Independence.
I don't pick against Beach much either in Crabtree. I know where my check's written. I'm going, not that I haven't picked other teams, but I'm going Indy as well.
Okay.
Indy's got this thing going.
They do.
And remember, somebody said they were going to be third in the region. I said surprise team in WCS.
No, you did. You did.
Even though their fans are just hammering
But now,
both of us.
if they end up second, then that's not third.
Oh. I don't think they'll be second.
They might.
I don't think they'll be second.
Playing well.
Page at Coffee County.
Can't wait to tell Crabtree you picked against him.
Another way to get healthy.
What? The where?
Page at Coffee.
The Jeff Breeden? No. Hey, man.
Page Rose.
Coffee County's got so many problems. Their coach resigned after week 2.
Is that true?
Yes. I can't do this anymore. I'm out. Probably because he knew he had Page in week 5. I'm going with the Patriots.
They'll be healthy for their 6th game.
Yeah.
Look out for Page. I'm telling you, getting an opportunity to play some other guys, surviving some games, and they played against good teams, not these last 2 weeks, but
they're getting better.
Or this week in the previous
Which kind of
week.
sounds funny that we're saying they're getting better, but
There's not a lot of tough games to pick here. Ravenwood,
there's
Overton.
one at the end.
I know. Ravenwood, Overton.
Is it my turn?
It's your turn.
Ravenwood.
Ravenwood. Not even close. All right, here's the one, and I'm picking first.
All right.
This is my turn to pick first. It's kind of, if I'd have set it up, I'd have made you pick this one first.
I already knew what I was going to do, but go ahead.
Franklin at Nowensville. It's the WCTV game of the week.
Okay.
I love the Nowensville team. I love the Franklin team. They've lost some heartbreakers. They've got to. I'm going Franklin.
Oh!
I'm going Franklin. Listen, Nowensville won 30-20 last year. I think there was a bigger disparity between the two teams last year. No, this doesn't mean anything. Franklin's going to win one of these games. You've been saying it. I've been saying it. This is the one. It's game day. It's at Nowensville. It's going to be a great game, but I think Franklin.
I hope they watch it because they've never been in the conversation, but they got mentioned. I think as far as horn to horn, bell to bell, whatever we want to call it, I think the Nolensville Nation the student body and their band, I think they bring it with the most enthusiasm as anyone. So I hope they show up and turn this thing out.
They will.
Man. I'm sure it'll be a blackout. I hope they turn it out. I want to be able to say, this is the best crowd we've ever had. And I think there's a good chance we're going to be able to say that. So you bailed me out because I said I wasn't going to pick against them. But I'm telling you, how does Franklin have to win? Passing the ball, right? I think Coach Paul Derrick does as well with the pass defense as anybody out there. So thank you for doing it because the Knights are going 5-0.
If I would have picked Nowens, what were you going to do?
Franklin.
I want to keep this thing. Listen, I think Franklin can win. I'm not just making it up.
Yeah. No, hey man, I was just waiting.
If I get this dub now, I'm hot. That's like hot.
It would be over in week 5.
It'd be 5-0.
It'd be like the new.
I'd have to try to lose.
I'm the New York Giants offense in week 5. If you go up one more, it's over.
It's over. Tate,
My dad always said, "What do they say in the barbershop?"
what do they say?
Next. Nobody cares.
Always good to see you, Tate. Thanks
You
for
too.
being here.
See you at game day.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Pots. My mouth's already watering thinking about
Potts
Potts
meats,
meats, man.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.